Do you want to take the Pardot certification exam and need tips from someone who has passed? This video is for you. Welcome to 100 Days of Trailhead, where the tech community comes to learn Salesforce, learn tech, get inspired, and invest in ourselves. We are your trail guides, here to support you on your learning journey. We release videos weekly. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a video. In the description below, you can find links for everything we mention in this video, as well as books and resources we found useful. Visit our blog, 100daysoftrailhead.com, for other helpful Salesforce and tech content. Today, Angelica is going to walk you through advice she has to help you pass your Pardot certification exam. Angelica Buffa has 10 plus years of experience developing on the Salesforce platform. One of the things she enjoys most is spearheading learning in the community. When she is not at work or at a community event, you might find her reading a book, trying a new recipe, or walking her dog Luna.
Hi, my name is Angelica and I will share top 5 keys to passing the Pardot exam. Before we start, I'd like to tell you a little bit about me. I have more than 12 years of experience in the Salesforce ecosystem, and I am from Montevideo, Uruguay. I am a Salesforce MVP, Trailhead Ranger, leader of the Salesforce Administrators Group in Montevideo, and I have 10 certifications. My most recent certification is part of the specialist, and that's the reason why I will share everything about it in just a few minutes. Here you have my LinkedIn contact details in case you want to reach out to me. The agenda for today has 3 topics. First, we're going to start with a list of the available Pardot certifications. Then I will tell you everything about the Pardot Specialist exam. And finally, I will share my top 5 keys for passing the exam. About the Pardot certifications, there are 2 Pardot certifications, Pardot Specialist and Pardot Consultant. Pardot Specialist is an entry-level certification, and it's the right one for you if you want to learn about Pardot's fundamentals, or if you already have experience and want to improve your skills and knowledge in designing and building marketing campaigns within Pardot. On the other side, Pardot Consultant is an advanced certification. In fact, you have to pass Pardot Specialist to be able to take this one. The certification is designed for people who have experience implementing Pardot solutions in a customer-facing role. If you ask me, the difference between Pardot Specialist and Pardot Consultant is this one. The specialist works in day-to-day activities to maintain implementations. However, the consultant has a customer-facing role, so they meet with the customers, gather their requirements, identify their needs, and design a solution that meets the customer business requirements and contributes to their long-term success. If you want to know more details about these certifications, I highly recommend that you visit Trailhead. Here you have the links to the certification exam guide. The exam guide is a document that describes all the information that you need to know about the exam. And one of the most important topics that the certification exam guide has, it's the exam outline. That is the list of goals or content that you need to be familiar with in order to pass your exam. Be careful and ensure that you're always using the most recent version of the exam guide, because the exam content tends to change from time to time. So you want to be sure that you are studying with the most recent version or list of goals. About the Pardot Specialist exam. The exam has 65 multiple choice or multiple select questions. Only 60 of those questions have a score. The remaining 5 were added by Salesforce because they want to have feedback from the test takers in order to see how difficult those questions are, or if they are going to be added to the exam in the future. To complete the exam, you have 90 minutes, and the passing score is 72%. It's actually very high. The cost. Registration fee is $200 American, and the retake fee is $100 American. Both registration for the first time or registration for any retake has to be done through WebAssistant. The maintenance is free, and you take your maintenance exam in Trailhead. The delivery format for the exam. You can take it online or you can take it on site in a testing center. Be careful with testing centers because disponibility might be reduced because of the COVID-19, or there are countries that do not have testing centers. For instance, in Uruguay, there aren't any testing centers available and you have to take them online. Prerequisites to take the certification, there are none, but you have to be sure that you have this experience, skills, and knowledge listed under the candidate profile. This information comes from the exam guide. We will review it together, but whenever you're watching this video, I highly recommend that you go and take a look at the exam guide available in Trailhead to be sure that this list that you are seeing right here is still accurate. The experience, skills, and knowledge that you need are this. You have to be familiar with the capabilities of the Pardot platform. You have to understand what a visitor is, what a prospect is, and how a visitor can become a prospect. You have to be able to create and manage Pardot marketing assets, automation, and workflows. You need to be aware about the different reports available and the different metrics that you can run. You need to be able to understand metrics for engagement history and standard dashboards in B2B marketing analytics. Also, you need to know about administrative settings and how to use the recycle in Pardot. You have to be able to troubleshoot and solve basic platform issues. And finally, you need to understand what Einstein features are available and how they compare to Pardot score. Things that you don't need to know is how to install the Pardot package in your board or how you can set up the layouts. Also, you don't need to know about how to, or the Salesforce configuration of Pardot. Be careful and don't confuse not having to know about Salesforce configuration of Pardot with not knowing about administrative settings. They are two different things. And believe me, you're going to get a lot of questions about administrative settings. Also, you don't need to be familiar with declarative tools like process builder, flows, or programmatic tools like custom apex, custom triggers, or HTML, JavaScript, CSS. Also, you don't need to know about B2B marketing analytic customizations or third-party integrations and APIs. Again, whenever you're watching this video, please go back to the exam guide and check that the candidate profile hasn't changed. Now, about the exam outline. This is one of the most important topics that you can find in the exam guide in Trailhead. This describes the goals for the exam and the topics or concepts that you have to be familiar with in order to pass the exam. Right now, there are six goals: visitor and prospects, administration, engagement studio, Pardot form handlers and landing pages, lead management, and email marketing. As you can see, each goal has a percentage that represents the number of questions related to that goal that you are going to see in the exam. For instance, about email marketing, you are going to get around 12 questions regarding email marketing, 6 questions regarding administration, and so on. I am not going to cover the specific content for each goal because, again, exam content tends to change from time to time. So whenever you're watching this video, I recommend you to go to the exam guide and take a look at the exam. Okay. Now we are going to talk about the top 5 keys to passing your exam. Tip number 1 is going to be about knowing the exam. You have to decide if the exam is the right one for you or not. Tip number 2 is about the study materials. I will share useful resources that you can use to get ready for the exam. Exam content. I will cover the topics that I found or I think were most important in order to pass the exam. Tip number 4, it's about how you can get some hands-on practice in Pardot. And tip number 5, it's about the exam strategy, how you can practice for the exam, how you can answer multiple choice questions. So tip number 1, it's about knowing the exam. You have to ensure that the exam is the right one for you, and that is important because studying or getting ready for a certification will consume a lot of time and effort on your end. and money because you have to pay for the certification. So don't get certified just for the fact of getting a certification. Don't collect certifications. You have to ensure that the certification aligns with your career path, your interest, or what you need in order to take your career to the next level. One way to start assessing if the exam is the right one for you, it's again taking a look at the exam guide in Trailhead, reviewing the purpose of the exam audience, the exam content, the candidate profile. Okay, and then reach out to the Trailblazers community. There's always a Trailblazer that is a marketing expert or Pardot expert or that has recently passed the exam. They will answer your questions and they will help you decide whether the exam is the right one for you or not. Okay, once you know your exam, it's time to start talking about the tip number 2, that is collecting all the study materials that you need in order to get ready for the exam. And here I classify the study materials into main categories: Salesforce official materials and Pardot official materials. Whenever it comes to a Salesforce certification, the first thing that I do is to check if there is an official trail mix available for the certification. In this case, you have one. And what I always do is I read each unit and try to complete it, because the trail mix covers all the basics and fundamentals for your exam. And whenever I feel that a unit is not enough for me, I keep looking into additional resources. Then you have the Trailhead Academy courses. There is one that lasts 3 days, and it's called Drive Sales with the Partner Lining Up. I was very lucky and I was able to attend this course. It covers all the Pardot fundamentals. It's not designed to get you ready for the exam. However, it covers everything you need to know for the exam. And it's a really nice course because the teachers will explain you the theory, but also they will give you exercises so you can put into practice all the concepts that you are learning. And it's also a really nice opportunity to get in touch with teachers that are very capable and they know a lot of things to Pardot. Know a lot of things about Pardot, so you can ask questions and get answers. Then another resource is the Pardot implementation guide. It's a short guide. I think it's around 25 pages. And the guide explains everything you need to know in order to set up Pardot. It talks a little bit about the Pardot package, but I found it very useful to be able to understand everything you have to know about administrative settings. So I highly recommend that you take a look at the Pardot implementation guide. Then another 2 nice resources, it's the Salesforce Help, of course. You are gonna find articles that describe all the features about Pardot, from permissions, steps, and important considerations that you have to be aware of when using all the different Pardot features. Sometimes when I am sitting for an exam, I realize that some of the questions come from those special consideration notes that you have in the Salesforce Help. So take a look at it. Finally, but not least important, the Salesforce Customer Success Events pages. Here, if you go to this page and you filter by Pardot, you can see the list of available webinars that are taking place in the future. There are some Ask to the Expert webinars. So I think it can be a good opportunity. If you have any questions about Pardot, you can attend one of those webinars and ask the questions that you have and get answers from experts. So it's a nice way of learning. Finally, Pardot official materials. I found the Pardot blog and the Pardot training site. In the Pardot blog, it looks like the Salesforce Help. You're gonna find articles describing all the different Pardot features in a very clear and detailed way. One thing that I liked from the blog is They not only explain what a feature is, but they also give you recommendations about how to use that particular feature. And that was very useful, especially because in the exam, you're gonna get a lot of questions about that are scenario based and where you have to make the decision of what kind of feature you have to use to best suit a scenario given. Then you have the Pardot training site. It's similar to the blog, but here you can find some videos, very short videos that go to straight to the point, like 2 or 3 minutes. I remember watching a series of 4 videos about automation rules, where different automation rules were described again in a very clear way and right to the point. So I recommend that you take a look at both sides and decide what kind of materials you want to use to get ready for your exam. Tip number 3, it's about the exam content. One thing that I realized is this certification is not the kind of exam that you are going to be able to pass by just memorizing concepts. You have to be sure that you understand the concepts and that you know what scenario best suits them. Important concepts to be familiar with are the ones that I am listing right there, but let's quickly review them together. First of all, you have Salesforce Pardot setup and settings, okay? Understand the object model in Pardot and how you can translate it to objects in Salesforce. How can you map fields? How can you create new fields and map them? What kind of field types cannot be mapped? How often the integration runs or synchronization runs? The synchronization direction, is it one way, 2 ways, things like that. Then visitors and prospect. Understand what a visitor is, what a prospect is, and how you can how visitors convert to prospect. Okay. List types. In Pardot, you have a lot of list types: dynamic, static, email test, suppression, public, CRM visible. Okay. Be sure that you know how you can create each kind of list and when do you want to use each type. Then you have form handlers, landing pages, custom redirects. Similar to list, be sure that you know how you can create a form. Understand the difference between a form and a form handler. Okay, for custom redirects, what are the use cases for what you would like to use custom redirects? Reports. Review the different reports and dashboards that you have for emails, for instance, landing pages, forms, okay? Review the reports, review the available metrics. Also, be sure that you understand the reporting hierarchy. For instance, what happens if you have a form inside a landing page and then you wanna see metrics for them? Will the metrics be rolled up at the report level or at the landing page level? Then automation rules. Automation rules is a very, very important topic. You need to know what completion actions are, segmentations rule, automation rules, dynamic list, page actions. Ensure that you know how to create them and ensure that you know when it's more convenient to use each type of automation rule. Also, when you're working with automation rules, some triggering or you can associate actions to them. I mean, when this automation rule fires, you can do all these different kind of things. So be sure to review the list of triggering actions for each type of automation rule. Then grade versus score. Similar to visitor and prospects. Understand what grade means and what score means and how you can set up grading and scoring models. Sorry. Then Email and email template. What is the difference between email and email templates? When do you want to use an email and when do you want to use an email template? Then Engagement Studio. Engagement Studio has almost or represents almost 20% of the number of questions in your exam. About Engagement Studio, you need to know what are the Engagement Studio components, like email templates, lists, actions, trigger, rules, stops, etc. For action, trigger, rules, and stops, you have to understand what they are useful for. If they can be triggered immediately, or if you can put some weights in between. Study how you can test programs and what happens, for instance, when you have a running program, you pause and you resume. And it's very important that you review this pausing and resuming action, especially when your program, your studio program has weights for any weights in between. Also, review all the visual elements in a studio program. For instance, there are tooltips. What information is displayed in the tooltip? Okay, pay attention to those things. The topic to the exam goal, it helps you to try to identify the right answer. Ensure you study in order, learn the basics first. For instance, learn about list first and then move into automation rules. And then focus on goals with heavier weightings. I mean, I always start with the goals that represent the biggest number of questions in the exam. Then we can talk about Pardot practice, that is tip number 4. How can you get Pardot demo org or dev org? If you are a Salesforce customer and you have an engagement or contract for Pardot, I am sure that you can have access to the production environment where you have Pardot running. Of course, you're not going to be able to run a marketing test campaign in production. You don't want to do that. You will be reaching out to real prospects. However, you can get familiar with the Pardot app, see the menu items that you have, and also maybe you can go and create some marketing assets for testing. You just put them into a test folder and you can get exposure to all the Pardot features. Depending on the Pardot edition that you have, you might be able to create a Pardot sandbox, but again, that will depend on the Pardot agreement that you have. Then, if you're a Salesforce registered partner, you might be able to request a Pardot demo or Pardot dev org. The difference is in a Pardot demo org, you will have fake demo data. In Pardot dev org, it's empty. You only have Pardot set up. I am not going to share with you the steps to request these orgs. However, if you are a partner, I highly recommend that you log into the partner community and try to find the steps, or you reach out to your account executive to review if you can request a Pardot demo or Pardot dev org. Tip number 5 about the XML strategy. Here we're going to talk about how you can get practice, or how you can practice for your exam. About the mock exam, unfortunately, there isn't an official mock exam. However, if you get access to a Pardot demo or Pardot dev org, you can implement examples. For instance, if you are reading a Trailhead module, you can try to implement the steps described in the Trailhead module. Or if you have or find some real life Pardot examples, you can try to implement them in your Pardot demo or dev org. Then about answering multiple choice questions, it's very useful if you're able to map the question to the goal. When you do so, you can think about all the items that are related to that goal, and that can help you identify the right question. Then read the question carefully. Questions always include a hint or clue about what is the right answer. Then eliminate the impossible or incorrect answer. There is always an answer that is not correct. So get rid of it right away. And if you still do not know the answer, trying to identify the right answer based on your Salesforce experience, okay? Just guessing an answer or trying to guess the right answer based on an educated decision based on your experience, it's completely different. Finally, manage your time. You have 90 minutes, so you have 1.5 minutes for each question. Don't spend 5 minutes trying to answer a given question. When you don't know an answer and you have spent more than a minute, mark that question for review. And once you're done with your exam, you can go back to the questions that you marked for review. Thank you and wish you all the best with your exam. And again, if you have any questions for me, feel free to reach out to me through LinkedIn. And again, good luck and see you soon.
If you found this content helpful, we would really appreciate it if you subscribe to our channel and like this video. It really helps us a lot. And with that, we're at the end. When are you planning on taking your Pardot certification? What tip was most helpful to you? Comment below. We would also love to hear what video topics you want us to cover in future videos in the comments. If you've made it up to this point, we want to take an opportunity to say thank you. Since you stayed with us, here's a bonus tip.
I have one extra tip, and it's for non-native English speakers. If you are a non-native English speaker, you can request to extend the time you have to complete your exam. The steps to do this are this. First, you need to register for the exam. And once you register, you can log a case in Trailhead. To log the case, you have to select the category certification exam registration, and the case subtype has to be other registration certification question. In the description of your case, you have to state that you're not a non-native English speaker. You include the name of the exam and you put some alternative dates to take your exam. You need to add those alternative dates because the certification team has to cancel your registration and create a new one to increase the time allocated for your exam.
Thank you for spending time with us. Please like and subscribe to our channel because we share weekly content to support your tech and Salesforce learning journey. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss a new video. We also handpick these videos which we recommend you watch next. Connect with us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and on 100daysoftrailhead.com, all of which are listed below. Thank you for learning with us, and we'll see you back tomorrow.